Hello and welcome to Top Fives, the show of everything. Top Fives, presented by the Sex Effects. I'm Joy Prati.
And I'm Sean Day.
And folks, we have a show hopefully devoid of any technical difficulties. It's going to be a good one. I can promise that. I shouldn't, but I will. But before we get to all of the perfection, Jonathan, how are you today?
Good. We skipped a week, so a lot has happened. I had my baby shower.
Well, not your baby shower, your baby's baby shower.
My baby's baby shower.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. I had
Joey, narcissist.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was great, man. Joey and Elisa joined us. They flew out to Los Angeles, which was super cool. So I want to thank you personally on the podcast too for coming out, and
it was beautiful. I was happy to be there, man, and we got to help kind of set up, and got some real personal time, which we wouldn't have gotten if we were there just for the 3 to whatever, however late it went. So
dude, especially you guys had, you were gonna fly out the same day, so it was really cool that we got to spend some time together. And
like an asshole, I booked the flights out of to and from LAX, which I should have done to Bourbon. I was like, I didn't even realize.
It's all good. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had, I had some of my family come by, some friends and old coworkers, and it was cool. It was in this park in Burbank, and we got lucky. We found this great spot where there's tree shade everywhere, and that was the one thing I was worried about the whole weekend was I was telling you just wear something for hot weather, because it's gonna be really hot this weekend.
Me in hot weather.
Yeah, and but it worked out really well, and I wasn't planning on getting some beer, but you rolled up some beer. My dad rolled up some beer.
There was beer when I got there. I was like, you texted me, you were like, BYOB and get some food if you need it. So we went and got In-N-Out and beer, and we show up and there's beer and food. I was like,
I was trying to convince my dad. I was like, I don't know if we're trying to do drinks and stuff. Is that good in a park? I don't know.
Oh, bro, you gotta just ask forgiveness, not permission.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, other than that, it was a good baby shower, and I want to thank anyone who came out, and we've got anyone who's also sent us some gifts through the registry and gave us gifts that day. It was a lot of fun, and it was great, just kind of enjoying the weather and just talking with everyone, and it was really cool to even see my cousin Christian came down with Christine and his kids, and and of course my cousin's a dad now, so it was cool talking with him for a little bit about that. And but yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I was stressing quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, on the baby shower, just organizing it and kind of getting everyone's RSVP and getting the food and all that stuff ready. But it worked out really well. And I also want to thank my parents for coming down, because they brought their SUV, which helped quite a lot that weekend. So and it was just good to see them and hang out. And then my brother came too as well, which
it was so good to see Simon.
Yeah, my brother, I know it's tough for my brother to come out here, and he's working a lot too, but it was really nice, and it means a lot for him to come out, and really excited for him to become an uncle. And I just got some gifts from him in the mail the other day, so nice. He's super stoked, and yeah, I'm just and yeah, I'm happy everyone came out, and at the same time I'm kind of glad it's come to a close, the baby shower stuff, and just kind of prepping for the baby. So I'm happy that was that came to fruition. And it was I was like, oh man, I was especially thinking oh man, baby, this is my first, this is it's my
yes
from our Penelope, and I was just kind of what's it going to be like, and so, but of course it was just fun filled and full of friends and family, which is the usual kind of gathering that we always enjoy, and especially with my family and stuff. So but yeah, that was good.
Yeah, man.
And
it was great.
This last weekend was 4th of July weekend. Didn't do too much. My neighbors were setting off fireworks, and because I live off of kind of a main street.
Are fireworks legal in your neck of the woods?
I think they're illegal, but they just don't care. But it was kind of cool because like the neighbors across the street and our neighbors, like, or from our block, I guess, I don't know if they're from our apartment building, but they were kind of like switching off like back and forth. So they were like, okay,
fireworks off.
Yeah, they were gonna like, we're gonna light these, and then these guys come from across the street and we're gonna light these, and then they were like, okay, let's combine forces and like try to do like a full like show or whatever.
Nice.
And so it was pretty cool. And you know, I think last 4th, I don't even know what I did for the last 4th of July, but you know,
that was last year. We can go back and listen to what you did last year.
I guess so. Yeah. Check it out on our podcast, or last podcast. Yeah, you know, it's been a really, you know, tragic, confusing time in America this past year, and I think even the last few years. But you know, I think that's the one thing I, you know, still celebrate with July 4th is just hanging out with, you know, family and friends, and you know, it takes on a different meaning to me, I think, these days. But yeah, it was a good weekend, and I actually did. Yeah, I didn't have work on Monday, so that was nice. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And we're all caught up.
We're all caught up. Yes.
Very nice, Shawnee. That sounds like a good time that you've been having. Let's see, what can I update you with? Well, I got this sweet
I was about to say that
from the
that
D&P
swag is so
pod.
good.
Yeah, so I'm going to take it off because it is very hot in here, but I wanted to rep the D&P pod. The merch is now on sale. So that's my brother and Alex Baldridge's podcast. So check it out, get some merch. They don't just have this, they've got hoodies, they've got t-shirts, they've got all kinds of stuff, and it smells good. It feels good. It's so soft.
I like soft stuff. Yes.
And I can get it in purple, and Lee's got one in like forest green. So there's
Dope.
Stuff for everybody. Some of the t-shirts come in pink. It's really cool. Check it out. Got to give a shout out to that. So I'm just gonna put this over here.
That is so cool, man. I saw the post that they made, and I haven't checked out their like little store yet. So I'll check it out after this and show my support to
it's
Maddie
worth
and
it.
Alex.
Yeah, and it like I said, really good material. It feels soft and nice, and keep me warm. But I don't need to be kept warm right now because it is muggy in the city. So let's see what has the last couple of weeks been up to. We went for your baby shower, which was beautiful and lovely, and it was so good to see everyone. Alicia made a new best friend in Flynn, which was great. I got one little story about getting there. SFO, excuse me. Not feeling great today, imaginary audience. So I'm a little slow. I'm drinking water, as you can tell. It's like, what's wrong when Joey's drinking water? Well, but so we're going through, I want to say customs. That's not right. We're going through security at SFO.
Yeah.
And this guy tries to like two lines were converging to go through the metal detector thing. And this guy tries to fucking cut in front of me. It's like on foot, motherfucker. Like, so I'm of course not letting him get in front of me because like, let's fucking go. You know, it's not even 9
right
yet.
Here in the security checkpoint.
And so I get through and I can tell he's a little pissed off. At least he goes to the bathroom. Our flight gets delayed. We have some time to kill. I was like, I'm going to go to that end and see what they have to eat or drink or whatever. And I'm walking and I feel something to my side, right? I'm walking next to the Jetsons sidewalk, you know, the moving sidewalk that they have in the airports. And I look, and it's that motherfucker that tried to cut me. And he's trying to he's on the moving sidewalk and we're neck and neck. And I was like, no, fuck that. And so I sped up and then he sped up. It was like something out of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
But it was like, so I won both times.
Yeah.
But that stuck out in my brain. I just had to bring that up.
I don't know why. That'd be a really cool, short video or something like that. Like we
need like one more beat, one more interaction between the two.
Yeah.
Of them. What is it? Getting on the plane or getting off the plane? Probably.
You don't even have to say anything. Just looks and discuss.
Yeah, exactly. What else? Let's see. got a sweet text from our cousin Alberto saying, "Hey man, you want to go to the movies?" He's like, "Tomorrow we're going to go see Top Gun Maverick." And so I watched the first Top Gun, which I'd never seen before.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's available for free streaming on Amazon if you have Amazon Prime. And which it was a corny movie. It was fine. It was good. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? And then I went to see Top Gun Maverick, and dude, I gotta tell you, this fucking movie, so good. It is so good. It feels like when we were kids and we'd go to the movies and the movies were actually well made and there was craft and someone gave a shit and it wasn't just a green screen with lifeless, have you seen it too? Have you seen Top Gun?
I saw it.
Did we already talk about that?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it, but I saw it IMAX at Universal City Walk. So Universal Studios has the little City Walk and they have like the full on IMAX screen.
Oh, I didn't see it in IMAX, which would have been really nice. But
which was insane because, like, as you know, in those like cockpit shots, it's just
it's all shot in camp. Like there's hardly any of that special effects CGI kind of stuff. All those actors really flew the planes.
Yeah,
they were, they'd have to go up, do a take, come back. The guy would review it. They'd fix their makeup and send them back up. It was that kind of, and you feel it. You feel like. I haven't in a movie, even when like the stakes of the world are, whatever, it's even Thanos or whatever. I'm not sitting in the theater like with my knee bumping up and down, being like, are they gonna make it? Is this gonna be okay?
Yeah.
It was the first time in so many years in the movie theater I was like watching it and like hoping that the good guys make it and like, just having the time of my life with this fucking movie. I really gotta hand it to Tom Cruise and
the way I remember seeing like I'm not a huge fan of James, is it Corden show, the Corden show or whatever?
I fucking hate James Corden.
But I don't know if you saw that, but they did like a special kind of thing with Tom Cruise and he like takes him out. The first segment of it, he takes him out on like an old I don't know, like an old fighter plane or something like that, like just simple with like the the little
like the ones they would have flown back in the original Top Gun.
Yeah, something like actually I think even earlier, like the old school, like like World War kind of planes. So he does that, and you're like, okay, Tom Cruise can fly, like sure. And then they do they do this like their obvious funny segment, and he's like trying to teach him about do like a course and stuff. And I kind of skip that stuff, but he takes him in the full on jet. And it's like, this is like the perfect promotional material for this movie because you're like, this is Tom Cruise showing him like, I am doing all this stuff. Like, I will put you up in this plane. We're going to bank right here. We're going to flip up, invert, all this kind of stuff. And I know the movie, like I feel like it followed a little bit closely to like the first film in some ways. They kind of try to pay kind of homage to like some of the early scenes. But I mean, I gotta say, when they kind of interview and they're like talking about it, and he's like, yeah, we had to like go through flight school, and I had to like kind of I think Tom Cruise had to like pre-approve the actors, if they can take those like amount of G's and everything. And yeah, it's incredible. I did have that kind of sense of feeling of like, the kind of stakes are real because you could tell they're in those planes. They're like, faces like sagging from the G's and everything like that. And without
spoiling anything, because I want people to go out and spend money and see this movie. But without spoiling anything, they do enough to set up so many things where you're like, I don't know if anyone's going to die or if they're all going to die or if anyone's going to make it back or so there is palpable tension and there's a true sense of danger to all of it that I have not felt in a movie in literally years. And the other really nice thing I got to say while watching this was, we've gotten a lot of these legacy sequels as of late, right? You've got the Jurassic Parks or Worlds. You've got the new sequel trilogy to Star Wars, and they make a big deal about bringing the old cast back, but they're really just glorified cameos. And that's kind of what I was expecting going into this. But no, Tom Cruise is the star of this fucking movie. This is a Tom Cruise movie. Say what you will about the man, but he is buckets of charm in this. He has so much charisma. And it was just nice to see the guy who's on the poster actually be the guy in the movie. And the underlings, the kids, were second fiddle to him and not the other way around. Like, how amazing would it have been if we got a full-on movie with an aged Luke Skywalker and not just kind of, oh, I fucked up and I'm shooting now. Like, Tom Cruise's character is the same guy from the other one. He's still cocky, he's still, and it was so refreshing. And I think it gives you a nice template of how you can do these legacy sequels, if you choose to do them, but in a respectful way, in a way that honors the characters, that doesn't completely go, oh, that movie that you loved and that guy you rooted for, actually he fucked it all up. That's what we got with fucking Han Solo. He was a deadbeat dad. Luke Skywalker turned his back on everyone he loved. Like, what? It's like, instead of being able to be smart enough to come up with a new arc that challenges the things that they learned in the first set of films, no, we're just going to reset them back to, like, so I was very pleased that did not happen in this movie. End of rant.
End of rant.
End of rant. So, but yeah.
Cool. Some movies. Yeah, man.
Some movies. So that caught up on Obi-Wan, which was a flaming bag of shit. And I'm sorry that if you liked it. I can tell by your pursed lips that you liked it quite a bit.
Yes and no. I didn't like what they did with the Inquisitor characters in it, and
I didn't like what they did with any of the characters in it. But
yeah, I don't know. I think we had that conversation about I don't know if you've caught up on the Stranger Things season 4, but I found that
one more episode left.
I found that season more riveting than and more interesting than Obi-Wan Kenobi, or the Obi-Wan show.
I've never been a big Stranger Things guy. Like, I liked the first season enough, but I never thought it was at the level that everyone else talked about it. This season is, and maybe it's because we're getting just shit lately, but this season's really good. Like, this season is really good at Stranger Things.
I was very happy with how they, especially the whole they're obviously growing up, and there's a lot of these more kind of different themes they can kind of hit as they become more, I guess they're teenagers in this, but I've
got one more episode left. Just don't
I won't say anything.
Thank you.
But I'm happy. It's my favorite season, I think, from Stranger Things, and
I agree.
I think it captures a lot of maybe the essence of what the first season and that whole thing is. And I was kind of like how you're saying about Top Gun, even though there are points where I was like, oh, maybe it can go this way, or it could be predictable this way. I was thoroughly surprised at how they were able to kind of weave this story in and out, and I'm really excited. I don't know if this is like is there like another
one more
season or something? Yeah,
I think there's going to be a fifth.
I remember they talked about like they had a cap on they had like a story arc to tell or whatever. So I'm really excited. Obviously we have to wait like another year for another Stranger Things, but it's good. And I felt very like I'm gonna say it's not my favorite show, but like they do a good job of like pulling those characters and their like relationships together, and there are some really good
like
moments.
Real three-dimensional people.
Exactly. Right? And as you get to kind of the last episode, right, there'll be you'll see. Anyways, so
but real quick, I'm gonna set a 5-minute timer because I want to hear your defense of Obi-Wan. I'm so curious.
I honestly, I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle. Like, I just don't like. I'm not. I mean, the Disney Star Wars stuff is just. It's not like. It's not where I want Star Wars to be. Like.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want like new Star Wars. I don't want any. I mean, we've already ruined all the all the Skywalker stuff, or Disney-fi, or just kind of Disney touched everything. I just want to see new stories from the Star Wars universe. At least we don't have that attachment to, these characters. I mean, you shouldn't attach some of those older characters in there, but if you can find again a way to justify them coming back, or if it's not even coming back, or even just their legacy moving forward, I think it would do so well. That's why I'm interested in this Taika Waititi trilogy, because it's supposed to be detached from all the Skywalker stuff, and I think that's what I mean. I don't know if that's what Star Wars fans in general are looking for,
but specifically, what did you like about Obi-Wan? Because I can't think of hardly anything.
I mean, I know there's all the whole thing about like, the meeting between Vader and Obi-Wan in A New Hope. I know that I liked that suspense of like, this is the first time they're meeting since that
in 20 years. Yeah. There's weight to it.
There is weight to it. At the same time, I liked how there was a few moments where Obi-Wan in the series was realizing that he's still alive and he's become Vader. I don't know if they did that well or not, but I'm glad I'm at least okay with the fact that he recognizes, like, he thought he was dead, and he realizes that he's gone to the dark side and become this Vader character, Vader. I don't like how they went with the Leia Luke thing. I mean, I know they're really trying to push, I think the Disney thing, they're really trying to push the rebellion kind of identity, as far as like, oh, how did Leia become, get the spark of the rebellion, or how did, and they're doing like the Andor series, and it's like, I don't really give any shits about that character, but they want to bring this kind of rebellion thing. I just don't know how I feel about that, but I mean, that's the only thing I liked about. I mean, I liked the actress who played Leia, but I didn't think it was very. I thought she was okay and charming, or not charming, but like, I thought she was okay. She wasn't that bad. She's a child actor, and I thought she had some, I don't know, like,
who knows how much of it is her fault. She was let down by writing, direction. The little chase scene when Flea is, running after her looked like something out of fucking Barney. Obviously, none of that is her fault. And I think in better hands, better writing, all that, she could have worked. But it seems like they went, okay, take one, fine.
Yeah. I mean, if I could have rewritten it with I would have been like, hey, Obi-Wan knows that there's Leia and Luke and he still has to protect them, but not have them involved in the story as far as like his interactions with them. I know they had to
involve Luke. That makes sense.
Or it's like, really from I always kind of thought he was like, like Obi-Wan Kenobi was like watching them from afar, or like kind of observing. That's how I wish it kind of went, but they decided to do this whole thing where he like met with Leia, and then I know there's the whole canon, arguments and stuff like that, and debate. Like, I think outside of that, that's where I wish it would have gone. And then I guess I think they just fell short on the whole is it Reva character and the whole Inquisitor thing, because they could have really, I mean, I feel like, especially with I didn't watch any of the what do you call it, Clone Wars and like
any of the TV series,
and in TV they're considered canon to in this kind of Disney world or whatever. But if they were going to lean, especially with Order 66 and the whole like the killing of the Jedis, like, I mean, they had a good opportunity there with that character to really, and it's like I was just kind of confused what her motive was, and they kind of just reveal it near the end of the
and that's show. The thing, when she does reveal it, it makes absolute nonsense. Like, it's just, I was killing all these younglings and Jedi to drop Vader, so to earn his trust to get revenge for killing all these younglings and Jedi. It's like, what?
And it's like, if we had like, and then how do you go from, I mean, I feel like they didn't, I don't know a lot of the lore and how they did it, because there's Inquisitors in the games, and there's Inquisitors, I think, in the animated shows, but it's like, how do you go from a youngling to becoming an Inquisitor, or like a Jedi hunter? Like, where is that? Like, there was some manipulation happening, or there's, how did they get those characters to where they're at?
And then Vader was like, I knew all along. None of it made sense.
So those are things like I felt like really weakened the show. I enjoyed the parts of, the fights and stuff. I mean, it was really, I thought it was cool that they brought back freaking Hayden Christensen.
Creepy middle-aged Padawan.
I know it did look kind of weird at times, but like, they choreographed the fights together. They had that, that moment with, even though I thought that was kind of weird when he's like Obi-Wan at the end, but they had that crazy moment where he cut off his helmet, and they're kind of facing, like face to face.
Was stolen from one of the animated series episodes.
See,
Ahsoka
I didn't
does
know
that. Yeah.
I didn't know
I
that.
didn't know that until later, and I was like, what the fuck? But I mean, yeah, this is just basically we got, and we'll wrap it up because our 5 minutes is over talking about this. But basically, I feel that Obi-Wan was given the Last Jedi Luke Skywalker treatment of like, let's just make this guy a piece of shit. He sucks at what he's supposed to be doing. He's rusty as fuck. And that's not the Obi-Wan series I don't think anybody wanted.
Yeah. But
and so I guess this is kind of, you know,
the first kind of installment of it.
Yeah. Obi-Wan's my favorite character. Again, Star Wars is no longer Star Wars. It's Disney Star Wars, and it's a very different thing. And that's okay. It's just not for me anymore. If they want to shit all over canon and shit all over characters, and if you want to like that, that is fine. I'm glad that
join the rest of the internet.
Something for you. Yeah. I'll be over here pissing in the sand, being pissed off. Shawnee. Okay, let's see. We talked about Obi-Wan. We talked about Stranger Things. Want to get some lists?
I'm trying to pull up my lists right now on my phone. Let's see here.
So, for a dear, sweet, imaginary audience, this may, in fact, be our penultimate episode. We actually don't know yet, depending on how next week goes and everything. But it's possible that this is the second to last episode. And I have a lot of feelings about that.
Got some feelings.
You know, our last lists. Which are good lists. I'm really excited. So
they're good. They're good.
Shawnee, would you like to go? Oh, sorry, were you going to say something?
Oh, no. I'll go first.
Okay.
And I will just shoot this one out. So, in light, I guess, of finishing Stranger Things, and you know, we've talked like Netflix shows and all sorts, and I was like, I was thinking like, it's kind of like sci-fi in a way, and horror and all these kind of different things. But I was thinking about sci-fi shows. So Joey, what are your top 5 sci-fi shows?
Top 5 sci-fi shows. I'm going to go. I was going to say Westworld, but I only liked season 1. So I don't, that automatically disqualified. But I'm going to go with Peacemaker for number 5, funnily enough.
I still have yet to see this show. They're like 3 or 4 shows that I just kind of missed within that window of time.
It's so much better than it has any right to be. And it is about an alien invasion. So I think that counts for sci-fi, even though it also cross sections with superhero TV. And it's fucking funny. And James Gunn, I think he wrote every episode and he directs most of the episodes.
Whoa.
And it's a good time. It's good TV. And I hate that I liked it, but I really liked it. Number 4, Futurama.
Oh, wow. Man, I didn't think about it.
Which, was such, I can't even pretend like I've seen most of Futurama, but I've seen a decent enough episodes, and they had such a good grasp on science fiction, on the mechanics of the way science worked within their universe. And they were stories. They weren't just like plot devices. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just one scene to get to the next. Like there's an episode, very famous episode, I forget the name of it, but basically you learn kind of the origin of how Fry time traveled or whatever, to the past. And like they built this whole relationship between him and his dog. And like at the end of the episode, and it really pulls on your fucking heartstrings in a way that, is really hard to do in terms of sci-fi. The only other thing I can think of is like Interstellar, when they're like, you've been gone 20 years and he's only been gone 5 seconds. He's like, but that's kind of, it rocks you to your kind of emotional core in really surprising and sweet kind of gentle ways. Futurama. Number 3, right now, this show is killing it. And again, it's another cross section of superhero and sci-fi, but that is The Boys on Amazon Prime.
I haven't started it yet, but I heard it's a good season so far.
It's really good. And it's basically, if your superheroes, your Justice League, Superman, and all those guys were just vile pieces of shit. And it's played, very straight, very realistically almost. And but it's a lot of fun at the same time. And Carl Urban does some great stuff with what he's given to do. Jack Quaid is kind of a delight. But all the people who were playing superheroes, and I can't think of their real names, but like there's Homelander and Starlight and A-Train, all these wonderful kind of characters with such quirky personalities, but they're also just vile human beings. It's a lot of fun. I really highly recommend The Boys. I liked season 2 fine, but season 3 right now is just killing it. Really enjoying it.
Is it still airing right now? Or are they doing like a weekly?
Excuse me. Yeah, I think there's like 1 or 2 episodes left of the 3rd season, but it's really good. I
think that's my next show and then I gotta catch up on Barry. Oh god, so many shows I gotta like.
Oh man, Barry! You could do Barry in like a morning though.
Yeah, you know? I might do what you and like Alicia did, like just kind of write my list of like I need to catch up on all these shows and just kind of cross them off, whatever.
We still got our list, right? Man, it's so many we still gotta do.
So many.
Let's see. Number 2, I'm gonna go Black Mirror.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Black Mirror is so good. It's each episode is self-contained, which is lovely. And they're each an hour to an hour and a half maybe, but they give you these really bizarre out there realities and just really these kinds of things to let your brain chew on for a little bit. And the show stays with you much longer, in that way. I mean, the first episode, this politician, what's the thing that they're gonna like blow up the world unless he has sex with a pig on camera.
Something like that.
So it's like, okay, what's the moral dilemma here? Does he do it? Is this guy bluffing? Like, incredible TV. So I haven't really seen it since Netflix took over, just because it looks like it got a little watered down with like celebrity and everything.
It's that, and I think wasn't it a BBC show or like a British like centered show, and I think they still have British actors on there, but I think maybe that might have also changed a little bit of I don't know if it's a fully British.
I mean, now you got like Bryce Dallas Howard on it, and which is fine. I'm not hating on it. It felt a little more authentic, I guess is the word.
Did you watch the one that got me really kind of weird was did you watch the Anthony Mackie?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Watch that one. And usually with Black Mirror, it usually involves like technology. As they kind of moved along, they involve like technology that might be in our reach or something like that.
It's like a super fucked up Twilight Zone.
Yeah, for sure. Ooh, Black Mirror,
baby. The last one I watched was Bandersnatch. We're talking a couple years ago now.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I don't think.
It was like a choose your own adventure kind of thing.
Yeah,
on Netflix, which was kind of cool. All right, dude. Where he keeps laying in the sun and then he keeps getting too hot.
Oh no. Oh man, it's like a big sunspot right there.
Yeah, he's no fool. And number 1, Scott Bakula in Quantum Leap. Used to watch the show with my nan all the time, like around the breakfast table and stuff. Basically, you have a time traveler who has this other guy, and basically they go through and like go to different time periods and right wrongs and that kind of. It's very fun. It was very 90s and of its time, but it's really good TV, really good show. Quantum Leap.
I don't think I've seen an episode of Quantum Leap, and that is like totally in the wheelhouse of like what I'm.
Yeah, you would love
Sci-Fi.
Quantum Leap. It's almost. I mean, I don't think it is, but it's kind of almost like an American Doctor Who.
Okay. Yeah, even with the premise of like kind of trying to fix things in time and stuff like that.
And you know what? It's been so long since I've seen that show, but it did leave such an impact. Let's see. American Science. A physicist who involuntarily leaps through space-time during experiments in time travel by temporarily taking the place of other people to correct what he consistently discovers were historical mistakes.
So he takes over a body of someone?
I think so, yeah. So, and it's 5 seasons. There's only like 97 episodes, but man, it was good. It was really good.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That sounds really
So
cool. I don't know why I've never watched the show.
it's really great. It's really great. Yeah, and I think you'd really like it. Highly recommend to you.
Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
I like the sound. That's like the whole thing of like taking over someone's body. That kind of like cancels out the like your involvement if your actual body went over there and messed up time and stuff. I guess you can still mess up events if you do it a certain way, but you're that person, I guess. So maybe it falls. Yeah, that's still gonna get sticky, but that sounds like super interesting. I've never heard of like that type of thing. Usually it's like you the person travels there and tries to meddle with like the events and stuff.
Yeah, I think you would really have a good time with that. So highly recommend, and it's like fun for the whole family. Like it was like a network TV show, so you can watch it with the kids around and everything.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like your list. It's like quite a variety of different kind of shows, which is really cool.
I'm not a huge sci-fi guy, but when it hits it, I mean, like anything quality, I'm a fan of, and I'm excited to hear your list because I know it's going to be full of quality.
Yeah. I mean, there's, I have Westworld as my number 5 because I actually just watched the first season with Odalis, and she's never seen it. I saw it. She's never seen it. And I was like,
we've talked about it on the show. Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I the 4th season's out right now, and I am curious to check it out and see what's going on there. But I was like, hey, it's been, we usually try to watch stuff together, and when I have a chance, if I'm watching a show that she's not watching, I'll watch it. But I was like, yo, let's check out this first season. I kind of remember what happened, but it's a really interesting concept. And the whole thing of artificial intelligence, and what if we lived in a future where you go to a theme park and there's these robots called hosts, and you can't really tell the difference at times if they're real people or not, and you can live out your any fantasy. And then what happens if a programmer who created these things starts simulating memories and things for them to create, to kind of simulate artificial intelligence and them thinking of it on their own. And just go through all these kind of like topics of what ifs, especially if, with artificial intelligence being a topic. And we're always, there's a lot of talk about that with technology and computers these days. And I forgot the quote in the show, but it's like, if you can't really tell the the difference between real and not real, then what's the difference? What's what that's that kind of theme that it hits. So I watched the first season. I kind of it did rush a little bit on the second and third season, like kind of went a different direction. Even this I think this 4th season's like it's like a totally different thing. But I think that's what they're doing is they're trying to focus it on some of the characters that we started with, and have these kind of main characters that we're following. And then they added like Aaron Paul and everything like that to the show. But still with those topics of like sentient beings, and if AI ever was created or established, will they be considered beings separate from humans, but still can think and do things on their own? So it has like a lot of those themes in there. So Westworld for number 5.
Lovely.
I've got number 4. This is one that I didn't think I would like, but I'm a huge Star Wars fan, of course, and the kind of space thriller, kind of show. I didn't watch like Star Trek growing up as much, but a show called Battlestar Galactica, which was like,
so afraid you're going to say Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, no,
I was going to reach through the fucking
Book
computer
of Boba
and
Fett,
smack
man.
the
It's my
shit
favorite
out
show.
of you.
But this is I guess the remade version from like the 2000s, because they had a 70s Battlestar Galactica, and this was actually on the Sci-Fi channel too when it released.
Right.
With I think a PHY. I think that's how they sci.
That
way. But again, with just having this idea of, weirdly enough, sentient kind of, it's kind of like Terminator in space. The best way I can explain it, like there's this kind of sentient AI, kind of robotic race out there, and they're trying to take over the humans and, and Earth, and try to, colonize and stuff. But I think the main thing about the show is the kind of collection of characters and cast members, especially for like a space kind of show where you're isolated in space, you're on a ship and you're so close quarters, and they do so well to tell a story with that and having those characters, and just some of the themes again with with these kind of shows where you have stuff like humans survival and people trying to make sense of like their life if they're farthest away from Earth. If they came in, they're pretty much looking for Earth. That's pretty much what the story is. They just got lost so far into space that they still can't find the beginning of Earth. But it's so riveting, and the cast is just, it's so good. It's a really good cast show, like a huge cast show. And there are rumors that they might do a movie, but it might, I don't know if it's like a new cast and maybe they'll do like a cameo thing. And funny enough, in the show, some of the 70s stars actually play like regular reoccurring characters on the show. So it's kind of cool. Awesome. They brought back.
Do they play the same characters?
Not the same character, which is kind of trippy when you find out like the kind of the main, I would say like fighter pilot kind of character. His name is Apollo. And the guy who played him in the 70s plays like this kind of religious fanatic guy in it. So it's like completely like opposite characters for what they played, but it is kind of cool. And it talks kind of themes about artificial intelligence and that too, like what makes people human and all that kind of stuff. So Battlestar Galactica for number 4.
Nice.
I'm gonna go number 3. I have mentioned this. I think I mentioned this on a previous episode, but Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Kind of similar. You're saying to like Quantum Leap. A man who pretty much travels through time to fix little fragments in time. And I always say he is a Time Lord, which is like his species or whatever. So he's not like a human being. But he's the last of his kind. So there's this kind of like sense of loneliness, and he's isolated, and that's why he always seeks like a companion to take along on his trips and stuff. And it's so wacky, and the set pieces are all, it's all practical and really interesting. And but they always kind of, even with the different actors playing Doctor Who or the different iterations, they always capture like the essence of what that person is or who that person is. And I think that's so fascinating, especially for a show that's gone for so long, and trying to capture like these moments and these different themes that like, you found from like the Doctor Who in the 70s and, and onward. And then I think I mentioned before, Matt Smith, which is kind of like the younger Doctor Who, was my favorite and my first introduction into Doctor Who, which he was very kind of enthusiastic and really kind of lively, and he was like the perfect, I think, introduction to like the Doctor Who character. And then they kind of go to like Peter Capaldi, who's like an older Doctor Who, and he's kind of a little more worn and a little jaded, but he still has like the weird quirks that the previous guy who played him. It's just like, it's so crazy how they're able to like keep that character going and still have different actors play him and actresses. But now it's like, it's just really interesting how they just kind of kept it going. And it's still, I think it's still going. I feel like it's going to go on forever, that show. But so Doctor Who
Rise to help us.
Yes. Number 3, I've got was it number 3? Number 3, right? 2. Sorry, 2. Number 2, I've got The Expanse, which I've again talked about on the show.
Yeah.
Kind of a world where Mars, Earth, and the kind of belt, the spatial belt, is populated by human beings. And yeah, it's an interesting story, especially for, it has some realism with like, what if, our human race kind of colonized space, and we're not like traveling to galaxies and stuff, but we were able to kind of colonize Mars and stuff like that. And then all the different political parties that come, that people who live on Mars are now their own kind of people and civilization. And then there's this impending mystery that happens through the show where there is a sense of another life outside of this area. So it's really interesting. It has kind of elements of, I would say, Battlestar Galactica, kind of the the crew and everything, and they crew of misfits almost. And then there's like this kind of mystery element, and then they have kind of detective element, kind of some there's actually a character who plays a cop or a detective, and he's kind of trying to figure things out. So it's good. It has a cast of different, kind of a wide cast of characters, but I think they do so well to kind of hone it in and bring it in. And it looks great. It was a Sci-Fi show, and then it moved to Amazon, I think.
Oh, okay.
And so it's still going on, and I'm not sure what their plans are, if they're gonna like cap it at a certain season, but I don't know. It kind of grows on you, the show, and it looks great. There's a lot of great kind of visuals and scenes that they're able to accomplish in the show. So props.
I've only heard good things about it.
It's good. It for me, like, and honestly, it for me, it felt like it started off a little slow. But that's, I think, for like some of those mystery shows where it's like you're trying to like kind of unfold the mystery as it's going. They don't want to give away too much, and then they're trying to build the chemistry between this like group of people who are eventually becoming a crew together. And then there's the whole like dynamic of like Mars and Earth, and then the Belters, the people in the outskirts. And that part is the most unique part, because it's like they have their own like identities, and there's like very specific things to those places. So they do a good job of showing that. And then number one, I'm probably tired of hearing this is my favorite sci-fi show on Netflix, but it's the show Dark, which I've talked about a bunch of times. I actually just showed this one to Dallas. We're on the 3rd season. There's only 3 seasons. It's still one of my favorite, like, especially for a German like television show. It's still one of my favorite kind of sci-fi shows. It has time travel in it. It deals with different families and the secrets and truths behind their families and the ties that they have with each other.
Does it deal with Nazis?
Doesn't deal with Nazis, but there's a lot of fidelity and fornication happening. There's a lot of
I don't know what that means.
It's a lot of, it becomes a huge mess pretty much by the end of the show. And time babies, that's all I gotta say. So
incestuation,
yes, a lot of that stuff. And yeah, I think I feel like it may not be for everyone. I think people who watch the show, it's a slow burn, but I wouldn't say it's a slow burn to the like it's not giving you much. Like I feel like they tell the viewer that they give you enough for the viewer to follow along, but they still give you like a little bit of mystery to kind of string you along and like, oh, what the heck's going on? So I always feel like that was a cool part about it. It makes you feel like, oh my God, I'm getting this, like, or but it is a very intensive show, and it's not the funnest show. Like I think people are looking, if you're looking for like a fun and like happy time show, like it's not the show for you. But if you're looking for a very intense show and kind of deals with themes of these kind of themes I was talking about, then it's the perfect show for that. And I still shout out to Ben Frost, who is the composer, because I just freaking love the music in this show as well. It's so suspenseful, and it is kind of for me, I'm starting to dive into kind of like orchestral kind of tension music for TV and stuff, and it's like the perfect kind of class assignment on it,
right on,
especially in those moments. And yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
Very nice, Shawnee. That's a good list, man. That's a very good list.
I feel like there's tons of like sci-fi. I think you're like kind of compared to your list. I think there are a lot of shows that blend different like sci-fi and maybe action or whatever. I think we were saying even with movies now, it's just becoming like a blend. I think TV.
Yeah.
I think it works better for TV. I think aside from movies, because you're trying to cram all those kind of things into a movie.
Yeah, but, and you have to build a whole new world, and in TV you get more time to explore all the facets of that. With the movie, you're not stuck with the characters, but I mean you can't do the same way. You just can't. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a good observation. I agree with it. I like it a lot. Let's see. You got time for another quick one?
Quite possibly, yes.
All right. we've done top 5 debut albums. Shawnee, what are your top 5 favorite sophomore albums? Albums that were the second release of an artist.
Second release. This one was kind of hard because there are like a lot of bands and art. I mean, there's like tons of people that I just love their second album.
Yeah.
Because you go into it, you've kind of tasted their sound and the kind of
make it sound so fucking naughty.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm like, I'm losing brain blood.
Yeah,
right now.
You tickled at the teat of their sound. And and yeah, it's the second album is like, yeah, I kind of got a taste for this band, and now with the sophomore album, maybe I wouldn't say it's like maturing, but like you get to see it their second.
Where do they go next?
Go at this. So there are tons of bands. I mean, ones that kind of stick out to me. I'm a really big fan of a band called Block Party, and their second album, A Weekend in the City, was one of my favorite ones from them. Their first album, Silent Alarm, was just like a huge hit, especially in they're a UK band, and they were so big here in the US, and I think it was just a good follow-up record. It had kind of hints and maybe kind of like tones from the first album. Like it did keep that feeling of the first album, but still kind of matured on its way. And there's obviously with Block Party, there's also, their guitar player Russell is like a pedal mania guy, and he just creates all these weird sounds with his pedals. So I go into it with that, what kind of stuff is he going to create? What kind of soundscape he's going to create? And I just thought it was a really good follow-up to their first record. It didn't, the first record was a lot of heavy hitter songs on it, but I think their production matured. I think their songwriting matured, and but it still had the essence of the first album. And I think that's what I always look for like a second album. I don't want it to deviate too much. I mean, you can always have that on your third or fourth record, but the second album, it's like almost like they have to be
an encore of the first.
An encore of the first album. Yeah. This is why I liked this band, and that's why I'm excited for this second record. And then, I'm more open to what they do later down the line as they go. So Block Party for 5.
Nice.
You might have to fact check me on this one, because for number 4, I have Dude Ranch, which I think is Blink's.
I was just thinking that. Like, how did I know you were going to say that? That's
their second official
because Buddha's more of like a collection of demos, right?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if that was the. So I have Dude Ranch, and Joey and I.
Dude Ranch is an excellent.
We listened to this album for forever. I mean, I still put this album on. I even remember you had the CD with like the. Mm-hmm.
It's
6-shooter kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and like horseshoes and shit. Yeah.
Oh man. And from coming from, I think Cheshire Cat was their first album, right? I believe.
Which is also
a good album.
Fantastic album. Yeah.
But then again, it you could kind of tell like Blink was like solidifying their sound, and they were able to come up with some really. There were some jokey songs on there still, but they were like, I don't know. I really liked, especially for, kind of like, at the time it was, pop punk music. I guess it became pop punk music as it continued, but for them to establish that kind of sound of the trio kind of band in that time was really strong. And there's like tons of great songs on there, man.
Many good songs.
And I feel like, I know Blink's in a totally different era right now, and I do hope they get back together as the original 3.
Scott Raynor.
Yeah, with Scott. Scott. Yeah, Scott. Oh, yeah, that's true. Scott is on this album, not Travis.
He is. Yeah.
Pre Travis, which is cool. He still has his kind of, you can hear his drum style and everything on it, and it's such a good album for that. And I think it's it's like Blink finding their kind of sound. I think it really, influenced a lot of their later, releases after the fact. And I do wish I could see them live with the original, the OGs playing some Dude Ranch, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always sad whenever we've seen them and we don't get Josie. I'm like,
I know, the hell. The hell did I go to? So
gosh,
that's number 4.
love it.
I'm gonna go number 3. A band I've been following for quite a while is a band called Enter Shikari, and their second album is called Common Dreads. My cousin Tom introduced me to this band, and I remember he gave me their CD when I was in England, their first album, which is called Take the Skies. And I've just been following the band ever since. Like, I follow every release they have, and obviously I'm on social media with them and everything, but like they're such a great, like, kind of similar to Arctic Monkeys. They stick to their label. They're all their albums are like pretty much self-produced. They have a producer with them, but it's the same kind of hive mind production the whole time. They never really deviate from their kind of how they do their process and everything. And they're such a energetic kind of band. And at the time they were like really, I mean, they're pretty young guys at the time when this album came out. And there's a lot of stuff in this album that, like, yeah, I mean, I think reigns true to like how people are probably feeling in today's world right now, especially in America. So and these guys are from England, and they're I don't know, they always kind of tug at those kind of chords when it comes to like their kind of messages in their music. So, and yeah, I think it was a definitely a good maturing of their sound from the first album to the second. They were able to, the lead singer, I think is Rouse is his name. He's been also, he started off as kind of a singing, screaming in the first album, and he really kind of showcases more of his singing in this one, and nice. And his obviously his writing too. And it's a fun album, and it's just like there's such a lot of fun energetic tracks on there, and it's very different kind of, every time I try to describe this band, it's very, like, I always say it's like electronic metal, and I don't know. They just have a good sense of like their sound. Like, I don't think I can name a band that's compared to them to some degree. Like, there are like hundreds of like bands in like the post-hardcore like genre I can like compare to each other. And at times I could be like, I can kind of see that band probably playing that song. This, I'm not trying to hate on those genres or anything, but like, I think that it just shows like how unique they've made their sound. And with a Sophomore album like this, it kind of solidifies like where they're going with their music. So yeah, Enter Shikari for
nice,
3. And then my 2 and 1, which we've probably said before, but I got The Color and Shape for number 2, Foo Fighters. We had a Foo Fighters centric show, and I think, I mean, this album has a lot of great singles on it. It's Foo Fighters again, kind of going from that first album to the second, really creating that sound of what Foo Fighters is. And I don't know if it's a thing of Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters kind of separating from the shadow of like Nirvana, and like this is like his kind of side project. It's like, this is the band Foo Fighters. Like they did they found a way to kind of, I don't know, I feel like kind of be on their own in a way, with this album. And yeah, you guys can hear all about that on the Foo Fighters episode. And then number 1, another album we've talked about quite a lot, Favorite Worst Nightmare by the Arctic Monkeys.
Yes,
still one of my favorite albums of all time, honestly. And I think I told you I got the vinyl for it a few months ago, and so I'm almost there with my Arctic Monkeys vinyl collection.
You just need Humbug.
I need Humbug, and I'm missing Suck It and See. That's the only one. And
Suck It and See is so good.
Yeah, and then
so
you have most of the EPs and like kind of singles they had, but
I got a number of 45s. I would love the Are You Mine record store day release. It's a purple vinyl of the original Are You Mine recording, and it, I could find on eBay for like $100, but
I know it's like, do you want to?
$100 can get you a bit more than just a 45. So
for sure.
Yeah. But that's a really good list. That's a very good list. I'm going to change one of mine. I thought he was on your head. All right. Number 5, Sophomore album. I'm going to go Dr. Dre 2001.
Oh, dude.
I mean, I don't know if this should count because he, was on NWA before that. And so is this really a sophomore record? But it's a sophomore solo record, right?
It's the solo.
So, yeah, I mean, there's just so many jams. Still DRE, forgot about Dre.
Dude, yeah, there's a lot of good tracks on there.
What's the what's the difference between me and you? Yeah, exactly. Like, there's so many bangers. There's so many good tracks on there. Explosive, West Coast shit.
Dude, I know. Like it's so good.
But yeah, so I'm gonna go 2001. Number 4, I had Favorite Worst Nightmare, but I'm striking it from the record. I'm gonna go Nirvana, Nevermind.
Ooh, little Nevermind.
It's because this album is so iconic. I think it's very easy to forget just how good it actually is. Because when you throw it on, you're like, fuck, there's some good melodies in there. There's some good,
and I like the production on that for sure.
So it's razor sharp.
It's so
yeah, and it's hooky. The whole album is just full of hooks. And I mean, they're pop songs just drenched in feedback. God, it's a good album from start to finish. It's a great album. Great record. Number 3. I'm gonna go with Ramones, Leave Home.
Leave Home, dude.
Great record. Kicks off with Glad to See You Go, their comedy song about Charles Manson. And get the glory like Charles Manson. Go, goodbye. There's Commando, there's California Sun, there is Gabba Gabba, we accept you, one of us. There's Pinhead. So many songs that became Ramones staples. The first album, you want to talk about an album that keeps the same DNA as the first, but elevates and really kind of can you say that the Ramones matured? I don't know, but like the sound became more full, right? Like there is an evolution in their sound between the first and second record. And they just sound tight. They sound like they're having fun. The Ramones can be too fast, and here they're at the right speed. But yeah, it's a fantastic record. And if you need, 20 minutes to kill, they can get through 25 songs. Like, yeah, it's a great time.
It's good. It's good driving music too.
Such good driving music. Yeah. For driving with Ramones, I recommend It's Alive. Because that's their live record, clearly. Number 2, I'm gonna go Weezer, Pinkerton.
Oh man, how did I miss that one?
I don't know how you missed that, but whatever. It's on my list now, bitch. Oh man, what a wonderful record! What a wonderful atmosphere this thing creates, right?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, it's a dark record. It's a personal record from the depths of this dude's soul, who probably isn't really that great of a guy. It's just, but it speaks to something in I think all young men, like that kind of. I think all young guys are kind of pieces of shit until they realize, oh, I don't have to be that way, this isn't the only way of thinking. Having said that, I think that this album provides just a very unique, very personal snapshot into one guy's time as that dude who's just lost and angry and self-loathing, self-pitying. There's a lot on this record, and it's only 10 songs. But I mean, to go from the softness of like the closing track Butterfly to the El Scorcho, to that bass on a like it's another one where the hooks are in full gear. And I think Rivers was never better. In terms of singing, in terms of songwriting. Um, this is a record with guts. Yeah.
Guts.
And my number one all-time favorite sophomore album is Elvis Costello, This Year's Model. I love this record. I adore this record. I can throw it on anytime. It suits a whole range of moods for me. And yeah, and it's a great driving record. It's a great like after work record. I don't know. There's just so many gems. It kicks off with No Action. And depending on which version you own, it ends with Radio Radio, which is fantastic. Others end with Night Rally, which is also a cool song. But Radio Radio just gets your blood going, man. It's so good.
Wait, so there's different versions of this? Like, is it like a
UK version, US version? And I always forget which is which. But my version of it has, it doesn't have Night Rally, but it does have Radio Radio. But like when I listen to it on Spotify, I hear Night Rally.
Oh, that's so
followed
cool.
by Radio Radio.
That's great. That's cool.
Yeah. So Elvis Costello, This Year's Model is one of my all-time favorite records. It's so good. There we go. That's my five. That's my five.
Well, Elvis Costello.
Yeah.
You I hate to go back, but I remember when you showed me the Pinkerton vinyl like, special edition you had. It's so cool. I mean, there's like, I think isn't there like there's like demo or there's other kind of bonus discs are in there, not discs, sorry.
Yes.
But yeah, there's bonus material in there.
So this is the first record I ever bought. It was before I even had a record player because this was like a limited thing. Yeah. And I knew that I had to have this. It's 4 LPs long. And yeah, they've got live and acoustic, radio mixes, tracking rough, alternate takes, live at Reading Festival.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a beautiful set. And
that's really cool. They did they put a lot of attention into it, which is really cool.
Yeah. And my first record that I was like,
dude, that's so crazy. You got I remember when you got that, and yeah, you didn't have a record player yet, but I was like, dude, I'm so stoked for you to like start your record collections and start listening to them. And dude, that's the stuff that I feel like is so cool about records and the medium of having it physically and having those options to to have like the extra stuff. And I think people are still into that stuff. And I know there's the different generations who are we're all growing up on streaming, and I pretty much listen to streaming on my way to work or whatever, but I still like the intimacy and just kind of appreciating a record for what it is when you're just listening to it. I've been doing it with Flynn. We watched like A New Hope, the Star. So he's just obsessed with like the main title theme. And I pulled up. I mean,
what kid isn't?
And I pulled up funny enough, Joey got me the original Empire Strikes Back, like the whole soundtrack. And it has obviously the main title theme in the beginning. And instead of me playing on my phone or something, I was like, "Oh, like my friend Joey got me this. Listen to this." And I showed him how to do the record player. And obviously he likes to skip, and I'm like, "Don't do that."
It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun.
But I'm trying to teach him, just enjoy listening to it. But it's great because he enjoys it, and I think that's kind of interesting too with having someone not know what records are, and this medium is obviously an older kind of thing, and it's just so cool. And I think that's so great about, I know this is not it's going off of sophomore albums, but just with records in general, I think is I'm going to definitely keep that collection alive. And even thinking about it now, it's like maybe passing on to like Flynn or something, or so but yeah, man, that's a good list. I feel like sophomore albums I feel like I listen to more sophomore albums in a way, even though I really love the first albums or really appreciate the first albums from groups, I feel like I always tend to go to those sophomore album. And maybe I don't know if it's because they matured the sound, or if it's they tried something different, or it just sounds a little bit more full or whatever. There's all these different factors, but I think it's just kind of like the second night seeing a band or so. I don't know. It's just something that it has like a different kind of feeling.
Well, they're a little more comfortable. They're a little more confident.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can explore a little bit more. You know, it's you get the origin out of the way and you can just tell your story.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we both had just terrific lists. Jonathan, do you have anything you'd like to share with our dear, sweet, lovely imaginary audience this week?
Share. Not much. I guess I just want to take again opportunity to thank anyone who came out to the baby shower and whoever has sent us gifts or just said congrats, and I really appreciate that. And you know, we're really excited for baby Penelope, and you know, I think I don't know, it's gonna be a big life event in my life, and you know, for Dallas and I and everything. So really excited, and I'm just just want to thank anyone who came out. So, yeah,
lovely.
Yeah. Joey, do you have anything to share?
Yes, two quick things. So one is a Netflix documentary. I might have mentioned it last week, but we had some technical difficulties, so who knows if that got out there. Keep Sweet, Pray, and Obey is a new documentary on Netflix, 4 parts. Each are under an hour long, and it tells the gripping, horrifying story of the Fundamentalist Church of Latter-day Saints, the FLDS, Mormons, fundamentalist Mormons, and basically the power and control that the leader had on the whole group. It's fucked up and it's terrifying.
Okay.
To counter that, I watched a movie from 1960 on Saturday that, like, as I was watching it, I instantly knew this might be one of my all-time favorite movies.
Whoa.
Called The Apartment, with Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine and Fred MacMurray, directed by Billy Wilder. And I mean, it won Best Picture back in 1960, you know, so it's not like it needs me to be like, hey, let's shine a light on this forgotten gem. Like, no, people know this movie, but like, it was my first time seeing it. And in terms of writing and structure, it may be one of the most perfect movies I've ever seen. So there we go.
Does it take place in an apartment?
For part of it. So basically the premise is Jack Lemmon is a guy who has this studio apartment, and he's working his way up in New York City, you know, for some insurance firm or something. And the guys above him want to cheat on their wives, so they use his apartment for their affairs. So like, he can't go home, he can't do this, he can't do that, because everyone's always hitting him up, hey sonny boy, I've got like a girl who looks like Marilyn Monroe, can I come by the apartment? And but it's, if I tell you anymore, it'll kind of ruin the movie. Yeah. But it's fantastic and it's delightful. I loved it. Like, I have not stopped thinking about that or Top Gun Maverick. So there you go.
Okay, I gotta start watching some of these. You have a lot of great recommendations for movies, especially stuff that I have.
Well, I have good taste, and it's time. I'm sick of pretending I don't. I have exquisite taste, and it's time everyone just figured it out.
Well, it's like, and you're willing to like dive into like just anything, man. I mean, I know there's a lot of there's tons of movies out there, and you know, some of them are obviously from like film history or whatever, but you're pretty open to that, those kind of things. And, you know, I take your recommendations very highly, because if you enjoy it and you feel like it, like kind of movie where it got you like that, I'm very interested.
You know, we gotta keep it alive. Keep it alive. Jonathan, where can we find more of your work on the internet this week, sir?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Sean Day Music, on my website, seandaymusic.net. Yes. Joey, where can we find you on the internet?
You can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Joey Parati, and on my website, joeypartyscripts.com. You can check out the show at Top 5 Pod. It's TOPFIVE 5POD on Instagram, on Twitter, at gmail.com. We're also on YouTube, Apple Music, Google Play, SoundCloud, Anchor. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, including Spotify. So please give us a like, give us a listen, give us a follow, give us your love, and Jonathan, we will give you
just everything in return, man. I could never come up with anything great. Everything in return.
Never. But that's okay. Until next time, I'm Joey Prod.
And I'm Sean Day.
Thanks for listening.